I'm awake. You're watching this nice Monday video because I literally rolled out of bed because I was up all night playing Rivals and playing other games because I'm on break and I've gone full degenerate mode. Like, I'm not kidding you. Like, zoom in. My hair's all like not even done. Like, I need to take a shower after this. Like, if you comment down below that my hair is greasy, you're probably correct because I need to take a shower. I didn't even take one last night. I'm literally like everything, even my hair in the back is sticking out. It's nasty. It's nasty. Anyways, homeless dude here, even though I'm living in a home, we're reacting to something that's not Destiny. Something that I've been wanting to react for a minute was essentially about the whole Naughty Dog Witcher 4 situation. And we're going to watch a video by Rev says Desu. At least I'm assuming I'm saying it correctly. But we're watching Asmongold haters humiliated after raging about ugly female leads in video games. A mouthful of a title. But I figured, hey, I know who Asmongold is now. I've watched the full thing of his after not being petty for the longest time and actually watching one of his videos. I know who that guy is, kind of. Let's watch more and hear about what's going on with him. And there's just been the drama about Naughty Dog and like the wokeism in this situation. I'm very interested. I've been trying to like sit in the back and watch. That's usually I don't speak out much about this because I'm not pro woke. That's not like not pro woke as in like, oh, I don't like wokeism. I'm pro as in I'm not pro as in I don't think everything is woke. I also don't think everything is racist or homophobic or whatever phobia, which on a side rant, I have a master's degree in psychology. You mother effers don't even know what a phobia is. Like the amount of people who you insert some kind of phobia, you don't even know what it is. Even saying being homophobic, you're not even using it correctly. Just because someone doesn't like you because you're gay doesn't mean they're homophobic. I'm sorry. Phobias create an intense amount of fear. That is not just because someone doesn't like you because you're gay doesn't mean they're homophobic. It just means that they just don't like you. Find a new word. But homophobic from a psychological, scientific point of view, that's not what homophobic means. When we stop trying to turn phobias into something that they're not, just you find a new word. Just shoo. I hate, and then racist. Racist is another key word that's becoming redundant and pointless at this point. Like, oh, you're just racist is a catch-all, woke is a catch-all, phobias are catch-all. Like, can we just stop? Can we just stop making everything an extreme? And there is points where people are being homophobic. There are points when people are being racist, and there are definitely points where people are being woke. Let's find out if Naughty Dog and Witcher 4 are part of that conversation or not.
Hey, what's up, guys? Rev here. So right now on social media, there is a very heated debate on the topic of quote-unquote ugly female leads in video games. This whole debate was sparked by recent reaction to the main protagonist of Naughty Dog's latest trailer, and that is for the game Intergalactic. Now, the initial reaction to this game has been abysmal, at least looking at the like-dislike.
It's just a very loud minority. Don't you like it? You are racist. There we go again. There's the whole, if you don't like it, you're a racist thing. Like, listen. And I'm assuming that's referring to the Asian chick for Intergalactic, which is funny because people literally were fawning over Stellar Blade, where she's literally a hot Korean girl based off an actual Korean lady, like a model, by the way. You must embrace. I don't know about that, but this is one of those catch-all. This is the argument. If you don't like it, you're a racist, or if you have an issue with it, you're a racist. I'm like, bro, it's not that deep. It's just people don't like looking at ugly people.
Like ratio on all the related trailers, it is really, really bad, and a lot of people just aren't impressed. Not only,
and I'm not out here saying that I'm Mr. Hot to Tot stuff, by the way. Like, you're watching me because you're entertained by what comes out of my mouth. And then there's some people you watch, you get entertained because of what goes in their mouth. OnlyFans girls.
Not only with the character designs, but also just with the trailer itself. However, what we're going to focus on today is the coping and seething that a lot of woke people are having on social media in regards to this criticism of Intergalactic. They are looking at things like this, the like-dislike ratio on the trailers, and saying, no, actually, this is a good sign for the game. They unironically think these numbers are good and only represent the vocal minority who somehow achieved the majority in the dislikes. But anyways,
let's play devil's advocate. Let's say they're right. And I think there's a grain of truth that this is the vocal minority that are just lashing out. Because there is a people in the back like me who just don't care. And we're not voicing our concerns. However, you do have people like me who, if you continue to have video games that come out and there's nothing to look forward to, and it's just this, it does become apparent that there is this wokeism bullcrap going on, you get tired of it. And so a lot of these people are conforming. And so eventually those who would normally stay neutral are now choosing sides. Guess what side they're going to choose? The one that's pro gamer or the one that's not? Guess which side is the pro gamer? The ones that are on the woke side, not the woke side, the anti-woke side, because they're like, hey, we're doing this for the gamers. Whereas we have people on the other side. Literally, I've seen developers attack their own fans. Oh, well, the game is bad because our fans. Like, are you kidding me? That's how you push people to the other side. That's how you cause extremism, is when you don't cater to your audience. You don't respect your audience, your consumers. You can't just sit there and blame people, the whole group of people as the fault. Like, what are we doing out here?
This post is a good place to start. This is from the Naughty Dog subreddit saying, don't look at the like-dislike ratio. Look at the like-views ratio. The fans are excited. People disliking were never going to buy the game anyways. This game.
So, I think there is a semblance of truth here. If you take the dislikes and then the likes and the dislikes, and you even, like you said, screw all that, right? Like, and then you take it from the total viewage, there's going to be a large population that you don't know whether they like it or dislike it. Like, there's going to be a large population of people who are probably going to check it out, like me, right? I'm not going to maybe buy it. I'm literally going to keep my eye on it because it looked good outside of the ugly character. Like, I can be honest, I think the character looks pretty ugly. Like, I don't want to stare at a ball. Like, it could be a dude, and I don't want to stare at some bald-headed dude. Like, I'd rather have a hat or hair or something. Like, if it gave me customization, I'm going to make my character look better than that. But, like, that's if it's third person. If it's first person, you'll never see it, but outside of cutscenes. But there is a semblance of truth to what's being said here. Take the total amount of what's liked and disliked and remove it from the viewage, and there's going to be just some discrepancy. So there is some truth to it. Again, I'm not trying to defend or disagree, but I think there is some discrepancies you have to focus on when you're looking at people who are possibly interested in the game, but not everyone cares enough to go down and click like or dislike. Like, some people just are flicking through their phone, they're like, oh, okay, and then they move on, right? That's how it is.
Game will be amazing. So this description right here is just the modern audience. I don't know why they're projecting about that, but they're looking at this very weird metric of like views ratio. I've never heard of that before. They're basically saying if a game and its trailer has a lot of views and a lot of likes isolated from the dislikes, that's a really good sign, except for the massive amount of people who don't like it and are criticizing it. But anyways, their logic is obviously quite foolish and desperate, and honestly, by their own logic, trailers for the live-action Snow White film, for example, would be considered a good sign because it has a lot of views and has a lot of likes, but, you know, it also has that nasty 97% dislike ratio, but you don't have to pay attention to that because we're coping and seething on reddit.com. There's also a question that is getting...
Listen, I'll be honest. All I want to say is we have characters like Tifa, where she's obviously got some muscles. She's got some other assets as well. And she has a beautiful face. Aerith, and that, you know, you're typical. We have Stellar Blade, which a lot of people don't like talking about Stellar Blade because they're like, oh, that's just the gooner. Like, whatever. It's based off a real model. Like, who cares? We have Lara Croft. And you look back at some of the older games we've had, like Lara Croft back in the day. We had Samus for Metroid. I could probably go on if I actually like dived into it. I don't play a lot of different old games, unfortunately. I do have a bunch on the back burner, but there's definitely strong, hot-looking female leads that have been around for a long time. I'm going to say what no one's really going to immediately say. Maybe they are saying it. People who are ugly don't want to play ugly people. Yeah. No one's like, hey man, no one's interested in me in life. No one wants to date me. No one wants to have sex with me. No one wants to like have kids with me or marry me because I'm ugly AF. Your life sucks. The last thing maybe you're 300, 400 pound lady or dude. The last thing you want to do is come back home after working your butt off in a life that maybe you feel is unfair because society thinks you're ugly. The last thing you want to do is sit down and play another ugly character because you're trying to escape reality. You're trying to escape the life that may be unfair based on your looks. And sure, there's some nice people out there that will like you no matter what size or no matter height or way you look. But let's be realistic. Most people who play video games do it to escape reality. They do it because it's their nice little time to recharge. It's a nice time to have some fun and just really have some enjoyment in their life. They don't want to sit down and play an ugly character. And listen, I have a friend. She was a tomboy. Doesn't look anything like that. She had the short hair. Didn't wear dresses or anything like that. Much more attractive than this. Sorry. By the way, she's getting married, so I'm happy for her. But like, this is who is this for? Who's this for? Again, I want to see gameplay because my biggest approach to video games is the gameplay fun. Also, can I customize my character? So if I can just put a hat on or maybe a paper bag, I'm okay.
You a lot of hate on Twitter right now, and that's asking questions about the main protagonist. Mainly, who is the target audience of this main protagonist? I see death threats in threads like this. People are so angry about this very simple and fair question. You can like this design, but it is a fair question to say, what was Naughty Dog thinking when they made this main protagonist for the type of game they're trying to sell? Because there is definitely a target audience.
By the way, I just want to point out, they mentioned that this game is supposed to be like based off Cowboy Bebop, which I never watched the full thing, but I know that one of the main, the main ladies, the girls that are all in there, they're all hot. Like most of the women that I saw in the series was hot. So if you're kind of like, we're going to base this off Cowboy Bebop, but we're not going to focus on the fact that we made hot characters. Yeah, I don't know what you're doing, who your audience is, because people who like Cowboy Bebop will tell you one of the nice things about it is that we're some hot characters.
Audience of the type of game that they're selling here with Intergalactic, and the average person who's in.
I know I'm pausing a lot, and I know there's gonna be comments down below like, oh, so you want something that you can like jerk off to? No. Why do you watch? Okay, my people out there. Why do ladies and women watch the little stripper movie with Channing Tatum? Do you fiddle your sticks or whatever you ladies do out in the movie theater when you watch Channing Tatum reveal his shirt? Like, oh yeah. Like, are you out there? Like, is the audience of women just moaning? No, you watch it, and you probably go home just whatever. Anyways, the point is. The point is, it doesn't matter if it's video games or if it's movies. Like, people watch it to have some escapism. And I'm not judging. You can watch your Channing Tatum with the shirt's off. And there's guys who watch because they want the hot blonde chick with the double D's, and out on the beach with them jugglers bouncing. Like, tend to like watch and consume media because I want to have a good time, not because I want to watch like a porno or anything like that. Like, but each their own, right? Consume content how you want to consume it. And I think that's the problem, is that people want to consume video games in their certain aspects. This audience, if your audience is mainly males who are white, or maybe even like, it doesn't even have to be white, let's be honest. There's a bunch of Hispanics, there's a bunch of African Americans, there's a bunch of Asian guys who like hot women. So let's just get the race out of it. Let's just say men in general who may be single. Hell, maybe they're not. Maybe they're married and they're not getting enough action at home. Want to play a video game and have some hot characters. There's nothing wrong with it. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Let's just own it. Own the reality. People want to watch and play games where there's hot characters. If that wasn't the truth, we would have a lot more fat people and fat women on the movie screen that wasn't being used as a comedic relief. And I know that they're trying to do TV shows that are forcing fat women into it, but let's be honest, that's not the mainstream. That's not how it really is. People want hot, sexy people to stare at. They want the eye candy. I know we're ranting a lot, but I like to live in a base of reality, and I'm tired of us living in like this, oh, life isn't really like that. People aren't really, no, people are shitty. They don't, if you give them a hot, sexy person as a mate or an ugly person, they will always go for the sexy person, especially if you're saying their personalities are the same. They're both nice people, but you just have to choose. They're both really nice people. There's nothing different about them. They have great personalities, but one's sexy, one's ugly. Guess what? Most people are going to go for the sexy. I'm sorry. I'm going to be honest. I'm an honest person. I'm going to be very honest. Is it shallow? But welcome to reality. The human race is shallow. Let's act like I'm better than thou. No, you're not. You're a human. Nature, literally out in nature, there are animals who are attracted. They do, like, there's a bird that does a male that does a dance, and the one that has the most colorful flowers is the one that gets to mate. That's just the basics of the human existence. The sexiest always wins. And it may not be fair, and I agree, it's not fair, but that's reality. It was long-winded, but I think we're living in this like fantasy world where we're like, oh, well, we need to embrace ugly. That needs to be the new hot. You need to embrace reality.
Interested in that sort of genre probably doesn't want a main protagonist who looks like this. I think that is a fair thing to raise with Naughty Dog, but raising these questions gets you a very hostile reaction on social media. And to answer the question, let's
be honest, and I know, pausing again, the reason you're getting a hostile response is because there's people that look just like this. People who are not that attractive, who are identifying as this character, who are like, oh, you're saying that this is ugly? Well, that's me.
That's exactly the target audience. Well, of course, it's the modern audience that just doesn't show up. I mean, these sort of designs are featured in pretty much every game listed here, and we all know that these games would eventually go on to fail. However, there's been
Can we just point out, like, I guess I know Dragon Veilguard has some weird forced wokeism crap, and I think that's a big issue. I'm not a fan of the wokeism movement. I do think there's truth to it. I'll play devil's advocate and say there's truth to it, but there's truth to everything else, like racial and homophobics and yada, 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 yada. But can we agree that most of this did not get, like, any good press? Because the gameplay sucked ass. This one didn't have lifesavers. This one, like, no one knew about, or nor did they care. Plus, you also had to pay for it. Dragon Veilguard, this is a watered down experience. If you look at the older versions, it was a lot more bloody and dark. This one was like the Fortnite version. Dustborn, I never heard of it. I've never heard of Awoken, and Forspoken, any gameplay I've seen was just this boring, generic trash. So it's gameplay, it's advertisement. I don't think it was just wokeism that killed it. I think there was just poor development choices that literally watered down. And what it was is all these games probably have in common is that they tried to be a catch-all game where they try to catch everyone in a bubble. Like, hey, everyone can play this, but a game for everyone is a game for no one.
These games would eventually go on to fail. However, there's been a very bizarre level of cope and seethe, and this is one of the best examples of this on Twitter. So this post, this art, got nearly 100 million likes and is featuring the main protagonist from The Witcher 4, as well as Intergalactic, and this 2014 looking feminist propaganda. Now, before we read some of the captions here, this is a very creative self-own, because what they're trying to make fun of is the chuds, the incels, who are calling characters like the main protagonist of Intergalactic.
This is how you push people to extremism. This is what I'm talking about, the opposite side. Like, there are probably people who maybe have, like, let's say Siri. We saw some gameplay of Intergalactic, but Witcher, maybe there's people are upset because they didn't want to let go of they didn't like the fact that Siri's the main person now. So I've seen a lot of debate, like, oh, well, the third one handed over the mantle to Siri, but maybe it's like Master Chief. To me, when it comes to Siri, it's like Master Chief. They tried to hand over the mantle with Master Chief to I don't even know his name. It was Halo 5. No one cares. Locke. And that game was a dumpster fire. And then they learned their lesson, and now it's been Master Chief after that. We only had Halo Infinite, but to me, I understand it, right? But so you have people like this that are just, you're bottling everyone into one little package, people who may have some legit concerns. Oh, it's because you don't like that they're masculine, which there are some people that do have that issue, but I feel like you're going to push people like, okay, well, you're just going to mock me, then I'm just going to not be on your side.
Masculine, they're addressing that by then drawing her more feminine for the purposes of their art.
That is true. That is actually true. They're actually more feminine looking.
Incredible self-own. But they say here, 100% incel tier. So everyone who's mad about this is an incel. And then also basically saying that all the people upset about this are men and that you're pretty much not welcome here. And we've seen...
I think that's also... I think that's a good spin, is you got to think that women are playing these games. Like, let's not act like women didn't play Stellar Blade. And let's act like women that were like lesbian didn't enjoy seeing big titty girls. Let's be honest with ourselves. The ladies that enjoy big titty girls, they were enjoying Stellar Blade. In fact, I'm sure there were women who enjoyed Stellar Blade more. I played the demo. I'm sure there's more ladies that are more invested into Stellar Blade than I am because of some big titty girls.
I've seen this happen before, right? Like with like She-Hulk, for example, where they said, incels, you're not welcome here. Well, that didn't work out for them, and it's not going to work out for messages like this that are now basically free advertising for Naughty Dog, but it's not going the way that they would intend at Naughty Dog, because this sort of message says half of the population, you're not welcome here, don't buy this game or these games. And it's pretty ridiculous. But yeah.
And you know what? If the community treats people like that and the developers treat people like that, they're not going to come. They won't come. Listen, if you don't want them to come, they won't come. But especially if you make a game that's not worth coming to, the guys aren't going to come.
You can see this got a lot of attention and also ended up with the replies being locked. And if you want to have some fun, go to the hidden replies. There are literally hundreds of hidden.
Which is probably funny because I'm sure a lot of people that were like, oh my God, Slay Queen, about the whole picture probably look like this. Let's be honest. They probably look just like this.
Hidden replies. The original poster went through probably for hours, finding anything that's criticizing them, and then went through the process of hiding the comment. It's actually pretty ridiculous. But anyways, here's another one from Tectone, which this is probably his least rage-baity tweet of all time, but it got people very upset, where he says, what the video game industry thinks we want versus what we actually want. Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair comparison point, because we can literally look at...
Let's time out. Let's time out. What if, I think a lot of people would be okay if we're like in the middle. We have a strong woman that isn't necessarily the most revealing. Like you could literally have Tifa, So I mean, we love beach Tifa. We love beach Tifa. But you can literally have just normal, hot looking characters that aren't like naked, that are strong. You could have the best of both worlds. I think compromise is a nice thing. You can have a hot character and be strong at the same time. They don't have to be half naked either, but it's a plus.
How certain games with certain designs are received, especially over the past couple of years, and say, yeah, I think overall there is a bigger market for character designs like Eve versus character
That's called a Freudian slip.
designs like this. However, this would get a very hostile set of responses, including this quote where 74,000.
Do not speak on behalf of women, fuck boy. We can speak for ourselves. I want more Stellar Blade. I also want more wholesome. I want it all. So, like I said, wanting both sides. Also, I told you there are women who are more dedicated to like Stellar Blade than I am. But yeah, you can have both sides. I think it's okay. You can do both.
Likes, and you can see Savvy saying, don't speak on behalf of women. But what are they saying in the quote here? It says, it's clear a lot of you are new here. Let me walk you through something. Women have been fighting against.
Let's just do this number right here. Can I zoom in? I do believe that is a dude. I don't know about y'all, but it's always these kind of dudes that think that they can speak for everyone. And I'm not even trying to speak for women. I'm just saying that let's not. When I say something about lesbians, like I'm not speaking for them, but I'm addressing the fact that we like to ignore that they exist. So sound off by those lesbians, ladies. Are you in for the big titty girls, or do you like the generic stands? I don't
know. Fighting decades to get games to stop portraying them like Stellar Blade. Now, besides the peak male feminist energy here, this is, again, another person speaking on behalf of women and then just denigrating them, making things worse, because the message.
Yes. Just like men have been fighting for decades for it to be okay for them to ask for help or show emotion or not be on a screen where it's just this hot eye candy. Or let's talk about, it's okay to have more short people on screen because not everyone has to be a 6 foot king. What else? What is some stereotype things or things that women like? Let's see. Doesn't have to be like an actual, like, maybe it's a dude that works at McDonald's instead of having to be a doctor or a fireman. Like, yeah, like you could say a lot about how, we've tried so hard to not have Stellar Blade be the template. Bitch, there's so many things about men that are the same thing. So let's not live in like, it's just men. We do it to both sides. Both sexes do it to each other. There's obviously templates of expectations of what people want. Like, let's live in reality. It's a video game too, for God's sakes.
Here is crazy. They're claiming that women have been fighting decades to do what? To make video game characters less attractive. What a strange goal. On top of that, nobody is telling you
Can we just address this line? This same studio on the left had to fight just to get Ellie on this cover of The Last of Us in 2013. Hold on. OG. So they had to fight to get a little girl on a cover. I'm sorry. What? I need some receipts. I need receipts. What the hell are you talking about, dude?
Can't play characters like this. Go ahead. But we're not going to live in a different reality where we're going to pretend this is just flat out more desirable for gamers than this. And on top of that, saying we need to get rid of designs like Stellar Blade, that's the worst example to ever exist for that point, because Eve is based on a real life woman. So you are saying designs based on real life women have no.
I hate to tell you guys, but even like anime, where you're like the crazy things that they draw, the proportion size. If you've seen some like actual Asian ladies, they actually fit the bill of some anime girls.
No place in the gaming sphere. You're literally cracking down on female representation in video games with your post seething about whatever message Tectone here was sharing. But anyways, you would see Asmongold make this very controversial tweet that would get a lot of negative responses. Strap yourselves into your chairs. You might fall out after hearing this hot take. He says, maybe it's just me, but I feel like the market for masculine, non-conventionally attractive female leads in games isn't as big as the video game industry thinks it is. Yeah, that is pretty much the most agreeable statement ever, but this is Twitter.
I think there's truth to this statement. I mean, I think the people that want it are a minority themselves. And those are the people that are trying to attach themselves to the character, who I guess they want some recognition for themselves. Like their existence. Like I'd say this about Destiny, where people are like, Destiny is Destiny. And if you talk bad about Destiny, they feel a direct impact to themselves. Like, oh my God, I can't believe you attacked my personality. So the people, they're doing the same thing, where they want their personality to be this self-projection of themselves in this character, in which case, I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. No one wants you. Yes. God dang. So no one wants you.
And this is Asmongold, so people would act like what he just said is the most insane thing they've ever heard. What he's saying is that if there was a...
I think most normal people would just want a good game. Who cares what the character looks like? Again, I think that's true too. I think both are true statements. I think if you have a good story and a good gameplay, I think it can easily overlap and you're good. But most games try to make the personality... Like, if you see a character that looks more tomboyish and maybe it looks wokish, there's usually a little smoke. And then when you start getting more signs of like, oh, they're self-inserting this, it doesn't make any sense, then you start having it where it's the other way around, where it's like, okay, this is definitely an agenda pusher, not actual, like the gameplay is just the agenda.
Market for these types of designs with masculine female leads, there would be a lot more successful versions of that sort of theme, but there just isn't. And I think it is very clear based on the past couple of years, especially 2024, that the video game industry greatly overestimates how much people like designs like that. That is not a controversial thing to say, but people on Twitter went absolutely crazy on this very simple point, including some quotes like this, where this user said, maybe it's just me, but I don't judge a video game based on how easy I can fap to its protagonist. And then, of course, they get criticism.
Again, you may not fap to it. Someone else may fap to it. Do you go to the movie theater and see hot, sexy girls, or you see Mr. James Bond with his shirt off and his pecs out? Like, are you jerking it in the movie theater? No. Are you wishing you were at home or you were with him? Probably.
They say, I posted this and immediately muted because I knew it would attract brain-dead incels like unwashed moths to a flame. Well, anyways,
I love people saying unwashed moths. Okay. I love people that they know. Two angry gamers. Yeah, you're definitely angry because that's why you muted. Because you know you're in the wrong. I love people who mute or run away because they know they're wrong.
Basically, what they're saying here is pretty unhinged if you really think about it. So Asmongold makes a completely benign statement about saying there's clearly a market for certain designs, but it's not as big as the video game industry thinks it is. And this person turns around and starts talking about like what characters he might jay off to or something like that. It's like completely missing the point and raising a very odd thing. Like people just want a commercial thing to be hinged if you really think about it. So completely missing the point and raising.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair. Like, just because you like, are you jerking off to nice cars? No, you have a hot looking car that looks really freaking good looking. I'm not sitting there jerking off to it. I want to ride the thing. I want to drive the thing. I want to look at it because there's dopamine being sent into my brain. And that's the thing. A lot of people play because it releases dopamine in their head. They're playing this hot character. Oop, there goes the dopamine. That's it. It's simple science.
A very odd thing. Like, people just want more attractive character designs. That's a preference. People are allowed to have it. And it's really not that complicated. And honestly, if you're just, constantly consuming these bad designs and just asking for more because you want to own the chuds on Twitter, well, you're the one who's making some pretty insane decisions. But also, people go after Asmongold because he would make a video kind of clarifying what he said in that tweet titled, in quotes, "Ugly female leads in video games," where this user would say, "ironic," and then post a picture of him implying that he...
I love people who don't know I get this in my videos all the time. People don't understand what quotation and what question marks mean. If you say something and put a question mark and it's like obvious it's a question, people are like, "I can't believe you're clickbaiting. I can't believe you would say that." I'm like, bitch, did you not know what a question mark means? It's me asking you the question. If you watch the video, we'll see if I can come up with the answer. Or if I'm just quoting what someone says. People are so, like, the people that are like, "Oh, you're an incel," they themselves are incels. They're usually got two brain cells that maybe every other Tuesday rubs together. They don't know basic freaking like English or grammar or like punctuation or whatever. They don't know anything. Literally, it looks like he was quoting something. I do that all the time.
He's ugly, which he even...
And I only watched one video of him, and I can still tell by this video. Now I kind of want to watch the video.
Jokes about this sort of thing in his video, pretty much predicted this would happen.
That is a good thumbnail, though.
This user,
that is a good thumbnail.
63,000 people who also liked this tweet didn't watch a single minute of his video, as pointed out in the community note, saying OP did not watch the video and his post is misleading. In the video, he spends a good deal of time defending the Witcher 4 trailer and the main character some people were saying has been uglified. He said, "No, I think it actually looks pretty fine." However, he then turns that into a conversation about these ugly female leads in video games, where he says basically for a studio it makes no sense to not make attractive characters because it's basically a win for everybody. So on the one hand, if you make an attractive character, people who supposedly just don't care about what a character looks like, they just care about the gameplay, they're going to be indifferent. So why not make it attractive? Then there is a very...
I think that's a good point. If all you care about is the gameplay, then why do you care that other people want attractive characters? You're not going to be staring at it whether they're ugly or hot anyways, so why do you care? That is such a good point. Holy crap. Yeah. If you don't care, then why are you even complaining about other people who are criticizing it? You just kind of outed yourself, because then that means you do care, because you're complaining about people complaining about the way characters look.
Very real, even though Twitter won't believe it, there's a very real section of gamers who do care about the design of characters and if they're attractive or appealing or not. And they might not buy a game if it doesn't look good. So why wouldn't you make an attractive design to make that group of people happy, and then the other group will just be indifferent either way? Or you can make an ugly character and that one group will still be indifferent, and then the other group will be angry. So then you're just kind of having indifference and an L versus just indifference and a W. It makes no sense from a business standpoint, because after all, these are businesses, right? They should be trying to make some...
And I think that's a good thing to point out. If you think that a company cares about you, $1 billion, $1 million, it doesn't matter. You think companies care about you? You're stupid. I'm sorry. You are stupid. You are the stupidest person that I have probably will ever meet. If you think companies care about you, you are nothing more than a dollar sign. And that's why you're seeing companies like Walmart roll back their DEI initiatives, why you're seeing other video games go back to having sexy characters, why you're seeing games that are just not the woke agenda, whatever. Again, I hate that word. I hate it, both sides. But you're seeing games that aren't like they're staying neutral and out of that. Those games are thriving, like Marvels. Like obviously there's probably some hotter characters in that because it's made in China. But the point is, like people don't want to be sold an agenda. They just want to be sold the game. And I'm kind of at the same point where I'm tired of both sides. I'm just tired, man. I just want to play video games. And I just don't, the bottom dollar, like, I don't want to play shitty games. And I don't think, like I said, my personal belief and preference is it could be DEI bullcrap. Like, people said the same thing about God of War 2, Ragnarok. I thought it was an amazing game. I didn't really notice it. And sure, Sweet Baby or whatever worked on it. And people are like, I love that game. That was a fun experience. And I'm tempted to buy it on PC to actually play it on PC instead of PlayStation. I liked it. I thought it was fantastic. There was part of it that was weird with whatever. There was some weirdness. And maybe that's where the DEI come in. But I can ignore that because the rest of the game was badass. And I think a good game will carry regardless if it has those features or things, those agendas put into it. I can easily ignore it. But when the game itself is the agenda, okay, that's hard to ignore.
Money and reaching a wider audience with their choices and appealing to their target audience. That's the whole conversation going on with Intergalactic. And of course, I saw people quoting the same user saying this was the same person who said Dragon Age Veilguard was going to do really well because the anti-woke people didn't like it. So that aged horribly. But let's just move on to this post. I mean, you can see the message here. Very simple one. Where is the modern audience? They're doing the same thing with Intergalactic. It's going to happen over and over again. We can't even say like, oh, I'm not sure this game's going to do poorly, but maybe I had the sense in me that it might do bad based on some reaction. We have actual pattern recognition at this point where we can say if a game has a huge dislike
I'm skipping ahead.
and virtue signaling on Twitter, that's all signaling. They don't care about the Baldur's Gate 3 publisher who is talking about the Division right now, and that a lot of studios are basically just burying.
2025 and beyond is going to be an extremely tough time to ship a game. With Division spilling into everything, I have one practical piece of advice that may be to some controversial, but it's crucial. Anticipate, don't ignore, or ridicule, or stoke. Figure it out. Navigate the waters, even if you think they're unfair, or that the seas shouldn't be so rough. The reality is that it is. The way he's saying is, there's obviously going to be situations like this where people are not going to want, so they're going to want certain things. And if you ignore it, you're not going to have a good time. If you want to anticipate it, don't ridicule or stoke it like some of the developers have been doing, where they're stoking the flame of Division and causing people to be upset. Like, I think if you're a developer and you're actively attacking people or ridicule or making fun of people, you are shooting yourself in the foot. You might as well just turn in your resume and you might as well just quit because you're literally shooting yourself in the foot. No one's going to respect you. No one's going to like you. No one's going to buy your garbage. It is the worst. You cannot. It is almost like the customer is always right, but it's not. Like, even that statement's not true. In this case, it's your consumer. You've got to respect the consumer, because if you disrespect the consumer, they don't have to show up. Right? A consumer doesn't have a right to make death threats or treat you like garbage. But at the same time, when they have criticism and they don't like certain things about what you're trying to sell them, they have that right. And you can't just call them incels or ignore them or make fun of them, because they're just going to leave. And I think that's what is happening. And that's why you see more of these games failing, because people are stupid. I think that's all that I want to cover.
Their head to anticipate how people are going.
Yeah, so that's pretty much. I think these are wise words. Again, the reality is it may not be fair, right? They're unfair, and that's the reality. And I agree. I think it is very unfair because even the Siri situation, and he didn't really talk about it, but I'm going to say it before the video ends. I didn't see anything wrong with Siri. Like, it's a higher graphic engine. It looked like Siri. Yes, is she not popping out her boobs? And like, The Witcher has never been about okay, I take it back. There's obviously some sex scenes in Witcher 3. So there's moments for it. And I'm sure that I don't know if they're going to insert those in. And if that's what you're worried about, okay. But the gameplay's always been dark and bloody and gruesome, and she looks like a freaking Witcher, dude. She does the badass thing. Like, I think people are just tripping on Witcher for no reason. Now, Intergalactic, that's a different story, but based on what I've seen and played, and I think the whole reason for why people are still upset about The Witcher 4 in series because of the Netflix, where they literally pushed Henry Cavill out. He was the best Witcher for live action. And they pushed him out because they wanted the girl boss power in the series. They completely changed the Netflix series to based on the girl boss bullshit and pushing Siri and all that. And people have that bad taste left over in their mouth. And it's translating into the game now. Like, oh, well, I love the game series, but then the live service was just bullshit. And now it seems like the game is doing the same bullshit. And I don't want this bullshit. It's all bullshit. I get it. I understand. I can see the frustration and where the connection is. And is it the developer of the game's fault that Netflix tried to do that? No. Can you have some faith that the developer is going to make a good game? Well, Cyberpunk was not good at release, but they've improved it, and now it's an amazing game. People love Witcher 3. They love the Witcher 3. They love the story. I'm willing to give them my faith that they're going to make a good game. I'm going to give them that's going to be a fun game. Just, I'm willing to wait and see. I'm not going to blindly take everything. Who knows? But I'm willing to actually try, especially since like Cyberpunk was like bloody and had hot sex and all that stuff. Like, it's just like, I know I'm breaking that up, but there are people out there that are like, where's my hot sex? I remember playing God of War. People were upset because the older God of Wars had the little sex mini game, and people were upset because the new remake didn't have those. So I'm like, I get it. You want the hot sex, sexy time. Maybe they'll put that in. I don't know. Obviously, I'm not part of that group, and that's why I'm trying to keep my composure. But I get it. I get it. I'm not judging you. I get it. It's still funny, but I get it. I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor. Hit the like button and tell me what you think down below. Until next time.